I'm Luxcana from Luxury Gaming, and I'm here with. Do you want to introduce yourself, Logan?
Yeah, my name is Logan Schneider. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas.
And I'm also here with one of my teammates. Do you want to introduce yourself, John?
Hey, yeah, my name's John Ball, here out of Philly.
Okay, awesome. Okay, Logan, so how did you do in Seattle?
I did fairly well. This game is a lot different than previous games that I'm familiar with and known for. I think the 2-0 format kind of makes it a lot more difficult than your Magic slash Yu-Gi-Oh slash Pokemon the kind of event. You get through that, it's a whole different world when you get top 64.
And what are you known for? What other card games? Oh,
I was an OG Yu-Gi-Oh player. So from there, I retired from playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know, it's been quite a while. Then came back into card games probably about 4 or 5 years ago to play a game called MetaZoo.
okay.
It's a mixture of like Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic. So they have mana curve, and stuff like that. So I was most likely, I would just say, in the top four players in that game, and at nationals finished in the semifinals.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Now, did you find it an easy transition to Loricana or no?
I did do the fact that you have inkable cards that you can play. If you are from a Magic base, you know that you need more of that mana curve, and you have to, prepare your cards you're going to put in your deck on that when it comes to your actual mana. So same thing happened with the new card game. Only difference is we had like a life point basis with mana, and we had side decks.
Oh, I don't see your face anymore, Logan. Did you hide yourself? Oh, show on stream. There you are. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's get started with your deck profile. Okay,
Okay.
so it looks like you play 4 Trinibog followers. What do you think about this card?
I think it depends on whatever you're running. A lot of people were running Finders. I didn't really believe in that card. I felt like it didn't help you taking a turn off against people on turn 5 or later. So with Trinibogs and Magic Brooms, I felt like Library put a lot of pressure on the Amber Steel players, put a lot of pressure on Red Blue, because you could just move them over if they wanted to B-prep you or try to get rid of answer. It would cost them for me to plus on them.
Okay. I always feel like all red purple players, this is like a staple for them, 4 of them. Because you also want to have a 1 drop.
Yeah,
And
the
then,
Brooms, trigger the Library, and then the Trinibog triggers itself when it kills itself to lure out.
and now, how often did you find that you were always trying to put the Trinibogs or the Magic Brooms in the library and then banish them and then draw like 2 additional cards?
I felt like it was more with the Brooms than the Trinibogs. I think Trinibog was just a great turn one play, but later on in the game, as you had Library out there, it was just an easy drop, pay the one to move it over, and then drop like a Maui or drop something else to be able to draw 2 off of it.
Okay. Awesome. And then we have 4 Madam Snake.
Madam M Snake is always going to be for the green steel matchup when we're on the draw to be able to drop it on 2, because Flynn doesn't really get its true value. It's really good against Amber Steel. I played one Amber Steel. I think Chris Oyola, maybe I said his
Yeah.
name right. I think he's many events. We played round 1 and we actually drew. But the snake is a problem for decks like that can't answer a big body early on.
Okay. Because, yeah, 3/3, and it's only a 2 cost.
Yeah.
And then we have 4 Flynn Rider. A lot of people don't like this card and went down to like 2. So, what made you want to still play the 4?
I think people are silly to take this card out. I think gives you at least 6 to 9 lore if you play it correctly. So to me, against Red Blue, if they have to go with their strategy, then they're going to take 6 to 9 lore to give to me. If they have to change their strategy, that puts them 2 or 3 turns behind because they're answering Flynn.
That's
Green
true.
Steel green still as well. When you play this on when you're on the draw and you play this on turn 2, it is a situation where if they want to drop their Ursula on turn 2, it puts them behind. If they don't drop I mean, what's it called? The morph. Thank you.
The morph. Yes, yes, yes. John, I know you don't really like Flynn.
Aggro matchups.
Yeah, so I think we had just different philosophies on Flynn, which is fine. It's cool to see that I made top 8 with 1 Flynn, and then you got the top 4 with 4 Flynn. So my thought process was like, I'm already favored on the play, but I definitely understand where Flynn can just like close out games abysmally fast in standard red purple builds.
Okay, and then we also have 4 foxes. Definitely a staple. It's like the bounce package that you need. Oh, I don't hear you. Is your sound okay? So weird. On Discord? It says that you're like loading on Discord for some reason.
You could try rejoining the call.
I can just see if I can put him on the collab cam. Okay, try now. That's so weird. Can you still hear us, Logan? Okay, so let's try the collab cam. Try speaking. Now maybe? Definitely not this one. I don't really know what to do.
Restart the call.
Okay.
Have him rejoin a new call.
Let's try one more time. John, did you want to join that call? Guys, we're just having some technical difficulties. Give me 2 more seconds and we will get it situated. Okay, John's on. It looks like I'm loading now too.
Yeah, Discord's doing something funky here.
Yeah,
what we
Discord.
really need is everyone to leave the call to the call entirely. And then just reopen a new call instead of joining the same thing.
Okay, so that's what I will do. Not. So did this work now?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Okay, so we are talking about the fox.
Yes. Fox. Sorry. It's so if you utilize the crab on turn 3, if you need to take care of something early on in an aggro matchup, now be able to take care of something bigger with the fox at 7.
That
it
is
has
true.
a lot of utility to it. Go ahead.
I said that is true. It would take out a castle if you use it with the crab. But wouldn't you need a lot more ink to do both of them together?
You would do a turn 3 play, drop the crab, pump something up from 1 or 2, and then on your 4th turn, you would just bounce the Merlin crab back to make the Madam Mim into a 7.
Oh, because it's leaving the field. Okay. Now, do you feel like because you're doing turn 3 crab instead of, let's say, the Sisu, which is like the usual line, would you say that you're kind of losing momentum or the lore?
Not necessarily, because you would just swing with the crab on that turn, bounce it back on your 4th turn if you're on the draw.
Mm-hmm.
Play the Madam Mim, you'll get a 7, and you take out their castle. So their 4th turn was just wasted.
Got it. Okay, okay. I like that. So it's okay sometimes to sacrifice the aggressive lore to like set yourself up for success in the end.
Correct.
Okay, and then we have 2 crab. Now, would you play any more?
No, I think 2 is enough. I might even possibly go down to 1 because to me, crab is another Maui in a way,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what situation you're in.
Okay. Interesting. Now, do you feel like you would see it even less when there's only one of them? Or you are okay with seeing it less?
I think in a 60 card deck, you need to have, if you really want to see something, you need to have 2 of.
Okay.
Having 1, it's very difficult to really see that card enough. And in certain matchups, the 2 for 2s are like more of my side deck cards.
I don't know. So a lot of here are like new to TCGs on this account. So do you want to explain what like a side deck is?
Yeah, so in some matchups, there's key cards that help you. So the crab really helps you against aggro. It really helps you against the mirror match. So in side decks, you would have side decks of 15 cards that after one game and you knew you were playing, you could side cards in. Well, unfortunately, in this game, you don't have that, utility to do that. So you need to be able to have cards in there that you can eat and also be able to use when you're playing those certain matchups.
Yeah, and I think it's crazy how we don't have a side deck for Loricana. Do you miss that?
I do and I don't. I think I've learned the process now at best of 2. So, I put a lot of time into changing my mind frame from best of 3. And also on top of that, have side decks that understanding that they mix games, so every card in the game can be used for utility. Like, so, meaning that you can ink it if you don't use it.
Very true. And certain
So I have a
matchups you want.
question.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, so I have a question to interject. So I know you're using 2 crab now, which makes sense. That's about the right number. When Diablo 1 drop comes out, are you thinking of adding more crabs into the red purple?
I haven't really decided yet. I don't know if I'm a fan of the Diablo yet. I'll have to do some further testing on that. But it's really hard to get away from the synergy of what a control RP does, especially with other decks coming out in different forms of RP now. So I gotta really test the meta before I really decide what I will change and do, which we're like 2 or 3 weeks out now.
Is that Diablo card that you're talking about, John, in set 6?
Yeah, it's the 1 cost that whenever it's like Cusco, but a 1 cost.
Oh, very cool. Okay. And then now we have 4 Sizu.
Sisu's just going to be there for it's a lure. It helps you get there. It really helps you in the green steel matchup as well. Helps you in the red blue when you drop Flint on 2 and then Sisu on 4. On 3. And then be able to drop a library or a castle on 4.
Yeah, I
So
feel.
go
ahead. Sorry.
It gives you that aggression as once you get to turn 5, your Elsa is not only just turning a beast sideways, your Sisu is going to be able to kill that beast, and Elsa will be able to kill the Diablo.
Ooh. Because Elsa is evasive. What was I about to say? Yeah, I feel like this card is pretty good in green steel because it always depends on how big your hand is, and I feel like green steel, they're always constantly drawing.
I think before life is a big problematic thing for a 3-drop because a lot of people can answer 2 to 3, not 4.
Mm-hmm. Because grab your swords only 2.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have 4 Moreland Goat, a very standard package in red purple. Now, do you feel like you would play Goat towards the end of the game just to finish it, or are you strategically playing Goat? Like, when do you play Goat?
It all depends. Sometimes I'll play on 4 depending on what type of matchup I'm playing. But, when you only have one goat in hand, you don't really want to waste that resource. I think you kind of set it up as like a chess move, right? Where you move something in a certain way where they're going to go this way so that later on you take out 3 or 4 pieces. Where I think goat, I won 2 matches, I top 64 and 32, where I just dropped, he couldn't do anything. I played prep next turn.
Ooh, okay. That's very interesting. And then we have 4 Rabbit as well.
Yeah, Rabbit is just a staple. I've gone back and forth, and I've actually talked to with Kendall about this, about having three rabbits, and Al Brady, who I'm good friends with, and they've just kind of scolded me about going to three rabbits. But I don't know if you always need the four because you draw two of them in bad matchups. But when it comes to the mirror match and what I thought, with RP being there and red blue, you needed the four.
And now you're always trying to just bounce the rabbit to keep drawing more cards. Do you ever quest with the rabbit if you can't bounce it?
Yes. So I was in top 16. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I was playing a red-blue matchup, and I ended up having three rabbits on the field,
Wow.
forcing him to prep me because I had goat in hand. And he knew this, so I had Tremaine, three rabbits, and if he didn't prep me, he loses the game. So it was counterintuitive where I just left them in the play. I didn't bounce them because I was building up where I would draw a couple bounce cards to be able to just finish out the game next turn.
With the goat.
Yeah, I bounced the goat like 3 or 4 times because I had so much ink.
Ooh, oh my gosh, wow. That's a lot.
He let me draw 4 cards with my turn as well because of the 3 rabbits.
That's true. And you didn't have any castles or anything on the field, or was it just the rabbits?
I think he finally got rid of my castle, and then it was just I was able to get I think about 5 lure out of the goats or 6.
That goat was putting in some work.
Well, sometimes I think when it comes to an RP player, when they're playing red blue, I think they stop inking at a certain number, and I think there's a certain number that you need to get to where you can really kind of drop it and finish games faster.
Okay. And then we have 2 Elsa, the Evasive Rush. When are you playing this card? Because it only really has 2 attack. So is it only for the Diablo? Is it?
No, I like the elves with the crab.
With the crab.
That's me. Where I played an Elsa, I turned an Amatoa sideways, I played a crab, and then I played a snake to bounce the crab back to kill the Tamatoa with the Elsa.
Oh. Okay.
There's a lot of utility with her.
Yeah, just
When
because
people
you.
are trying to keep things up, like an Amber Steel, you can turn it sideways and answer it.
It's kind of nice. So let's just say they have multiple characters on the field. Which one are you going to ready or exert so you can kill it? It just depends on the board
I think
state.
it'll depend. Yeah, so like if I have a Tamatoa out there that has one item, it's not really worth the Tamatoa, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe the Flavor Sham is something I want to take out because he might be drawing to more items, where then it becomes a threat.
Okay. That's very true. And then we have 3 Maui. I feel like 4 is very typical. So 3.
Very typical. I like Maui a lot, but in this format, I looked at as Crab as another Maui, right?
Yes, I remember you saying that.
So the reason why I went another Crab is because I felt like a lot of aggro decks might be around, and I needed to be able to answer stuff faster on turn 3 than turn 5. So I traded 1 Maui for 1 Crab, and it made a lot of difference for me.
And you wouldn't change anything about that? Trade Maui and Crab, you're going to keep it like that?
I would probably, if I could make it make sense, I might have cut a goat to add another Maui.
Okay. And then now we have 2 Lady Tremaines. I feel like this card is not played as much anymore, so I'm surprised that you're playing 2 of them.
She's really good to shift on. So I've had a time where I was able to clear a whole board without using prep, where I swung with one thing. I had 10 lure on hand, and I was able to play one and then shift on top of her to clear the whole board of 3 characters.
Okay.
I think it's all about utility. She's not the best one, but she is a threat because she can lure for 2.
Yes, you can't you kind of still have to respect her a little bit. Did we lose each other again? I did not hear anything that turn. I don't know what is going on. I think Discord's being funky today. John, are you having any issues hearing?
Yes.
Yeah, we can't hear you at all.
I can hear you good. Let's just end the call again. We'll all rejoin. It's the easiest way.
Okay.
That thing.
Hello? I can hear you, John. I can hear you now, Logan. Can you speak again? Yeah, it's a little low, though.
Hello.
Okay, I got you now.
Yep, that was clear.
Okay, so we were talking about Lady Tremaine.
To recap, I mean, she's really good just to be able to shift on and be able to, but I think she's more for a lot of these late game games like Red Blue. And as you can tell, and my prediction was is that we were going to see majority of Red Blue in this tournament.
And we did. There was a lot of them. I think they were like, what, more than 25% of Red Blue matches?
So I don't remember exactly when they showed that on the wall.
Yeah. And then we have 2 Medusa. I do find Medusa to be the better of the 2. Do you agree?
I do agree, but I feel like they complement each other, right? Kind of like in chess, you have your king and your queen, right? Where like Medusa to me is like more of a queen because she can do so much more in target, but they complement one another in the game.
Very true, very true. I've seen a lot do 3 Medusas, 1 Lady Tremaine. Did you ever test that out, or?
I did. I just wanted to be able to 2-0 Red Blue easily, and Lady Tremaine just came in. To me, like Elsa was another Medusa in a certain way because of what she could do. And Lady Tremaine was just there to be able to move certain things when I need to and to be able to lure. Luring in this deck is sometimes difficult without the locations. So having that 2 lure and being able to put that on the library and if they pop her, I'm able to draw a card off of her and still lure.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're still plussing too. Like that's what you kind of always want to do. Make sure you're setting yourself up to plus and not be in like the negative. And then we have 4 Brawl.
Yeah, Brawl is a card that I don't think will go anywhere. It's just helpful in aggro, it's helpful in green steel, it's helpful in red blue. It's helpful in so many matchups. I believe I had one matchup. I have like my rounds here where I think Brawl just wanted me to get outright. I was able to brawl him twice, and he just couldn't come back from that.
Ooh, that's nice. It's kind of, I felt myself, I use Befuddle a lot. So like I was able to do Befuddle twice and they weren't able to come back from that.
Yeah, Befuddle's a nasty card, especially when you Befuddle. My girlfriend, she plays Purple Amber, and so when she Befuddles my Flynn, it's just tough.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like if we don't Befuddle the Flynn, then we're in trouble.
Absolutely.
And then we have 4 friends on the other side. For this card, do you find yourself singing it more with a character or hard playing it?
I think it's more of like a 80-20. I'm singing it mostly, but sometimes I hard cast it just because, to me, the utility of this song being sung, and if Elsa takes it out, she takes it. I mean, sorry, Ursula takes it out, she takes it out. But normally I can just ink it out. I get a lot of backlash because I don't play finders.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like being able to sing a card and still be able to utilize your turn is more beneficial than playing a card at the end of your turn.
Okay. So you really weren't worried about Ursula taking your card, and with like the green steel meta that was like very popular.
No, I played 2 of them, including Luke, and I played a green purple. And in that situation, if they're dropping her, then my Flynn's getting value.
Because she's only a 1, she's only a 1 attack, so.
Yeah, normally if I know that if I see them ink or play maybe Diablo on 1, then I'm going to just ink my friends.
Okay, okay. And then we have 4 be prepared.
I think this is the MVP of the whole Lorcana game. I think this game is broken. I think a lot of people would ask for this card to be banned, but I love it. I think every card game has this card.
How many times did you find that it was taken out of your hand, though?
Uh, Twice, because I
Oh,
just really, when I mulligan, I made sure not to over mulligan, so that I would draw too many of them.
because like, I feel like a lot of people did go down to like 3 or 2, and you're still playing 4.
Yeah, I think you're going to lose a lot more than win in doing so, because this is such a this card is why a lot of people play this deck.
And when is the ideal be prepared?
It's tough. Every situation is different. I'd be prepared at Tamatoa with 2 castles on the field, right? So that he couldn't answer it. I've prepped 2. I think it was a Maui and something else that he played, and I prepped that to be good in my castles. But I think it all depends on the board state, because you have other use like Lady Tremaine or Elsa. We can really save those be prepared for later.
Okay. But you're like not afraid to play it earlier rather than later, but you always want to make sure you kind of have a location on the field or a location in your hand to drop.
Something like that. So if I'm playing a deck that I know can't answer, if I'm prepping you or if you're prepping, you best believe that next turn I'm dropping a location on you. And what I like about the library is that people want to play 2 castles on turn 8, but I'm able to play a Queen's Castle and a library on 7.
Yeah. Because the library is only a cost 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to ask about the libraries, but while we're moving into them anyway.
Yeah, I'll put up right
I
now.
will say that in my run, libraries like very overperformed what I was expecting, and even I had a lot more burn in my build, so like the castle wasn't as relevant to me as much as the card draw and like the 8 HP actually came up a ton for the castle. How was your experience with library over finders? I really like that deck.
Okay, so I'll tell everyone, just like I told a lot of the RP players that asked me why library over finders. I want to put you in a scenario as a player on turn 5. Turn 5, I drop finders. Pass turn. You have 2 characters on board. I played library on turn 5, move 2 characters over. Not only am I getting lore every turn, but if once they wanted to answer the characters, I'm gaining cards off that card. I look at what's the most positive EV in my turn to do in this game. There's not a lot of interactions, and locations kind of run wild if they don't get answered. I'd rather have this location because it keeps getting utility. That finders might get you 3 cards, but this library might give me 8 cards, and it's gotten me 10 cards once.
10 cards,
And, like,
wow. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. So I think everyone that cut the library, I think it was a big mistake because it helps against the green steel matchup. It helps against emerald steel matchup. It just hurts them. It hurts your mirror match because when you move everything over to the library and they want to prep you, they're going to actually kind of stop and not do it because they're thinking about the plus that you're going to get off of that.
You also,
library vastly overperformed for me. I'm glad to hear the same for you as well.
you also kind of have to make, like, you're making your opponent make a decision. Are you going to go after my characters or you're going to have to go after my locations, and therefore like you're still going to get the lore or some type of benefit from making them make that decision.
Yeah, and what doesn't help it's an 8 life on this card, and the fact that they're trying to ping, like if they're pinging at this and they're not questing out, they're allowing me to play my game. And so the time that they're trying to ping this, they lay out their field and I prep them. The next turn I drop 2 castles, they don't have any answers for it.
Okay, I like that. And then we have 4 Queen's Castle.
I'm not a component of someone who moves cards over to the Queen's Castle because I feel like it doesn't get enough value. A lot of times when I had Queen's Castle library, everything got moved to the library. I got way more value out of that.
Interesting, but you still do get cards from the library at the start of your turn.
Oh, you mean Queen's Castle?
Queen's Castle, yeah, I'm sorry.
You do, but a good player is going to find a way to remove that character off that location so you don't draw the card. But when it's on the library, they're swinging at the castle and they're not hitting the library, and then you're able to run your stuff into their stuff and plus off of them.
Okay. So now, did you find it more beneficial to when the characters are in the library to just wait for them to kill your stuff, or you were always the one trying to kill?
Oh, I was questing out. If they didn't want to answer it, I was questing out. If they were swinging at the library and not swinging at my characters, that's when I started just getting additional lures. I mean, the objective of the game, which you were talking about, burn deck, which that's a great deck by the way, is the game is to get to 20. There is no real interactions in the game yet, no cards to stop you. So if you're gonna start swinging at my locations, I'm gonna start luring you out with characters, and I'm gonna get so far ahead that you let me get into goat action, and then I just win.
Very true. I'm just gonna ask the chat if they have any other questions for you. John, do you have any additional questions?
No, we mostly discussed like the library stuff that I was interested in because I was glad to see someone else on the belief that library is just insane in the current meta. It was one of the big reasons I brought the burn deck is library was just insane.
I think it's going to see a lot of play going into the next set. I think it's a very underrated card, and I hope that I brought some light to it by what I did. A lot of people didn't see what I did on because it was off camera, but it was some very busted things that you could do with the library.
Okay, chat, do you guys have any questions for Logan? I think I don't have any questions either. I usually ask like as I'm going to try to figure it out. Is there anything that you would change? Let's just say if we had another set 5 DLC.
I think I would probably maybe cut a goat because I'm usually putting those back, and I would probably go up to 4 Mauis. I mean, unfortunately, I think I was playing Luke, and Luke had the god rolled in out of my city card, and that if I would have kept that Maui, we would have changed that game.
Okay. And then now, go ahead, John.
I actually have one more. So would you ever consider Scar? Because I found in the tournament that there were times where I had like a lot of times against aggro where I had Peter Pans in hand and like they had codes, so it wouldn't have been relevant. But Scar would have like cleaned up an entire board of little dudes and then killed the beast at the end of that.
I've talked about Scar. It's just really tough because of the situations you get put in as an RP player. I don't know if it can answer a lot. I like it now. Maybe with all the locations coming out, you're probably going to need a little more rush later on in the game. So I think that might be a set 6 tech. But in this game, I felt like the crabs were needed earlier to give things 3/3. So I don't know if I would. I don't know if I'd in this because we're still playing a lot of red blue in this. But we're talking about just set 5.
John?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. In just set 5, we are playing a lot of red blue.
And now, do you have any suggestions for any new players that want to get into the game?
Certainly, for someone coming from another card game and being an expert in that card game and having to respect the process in this one, you need to stick with the color for the whole set. If you keep switching colors, you're never going to see the progression that you want. I'll give you an example. I came to this game, I had in Dallas DLC, and I didn't know enough. I didn't have enough experience of the 2.0 format, and thinking that this is going to be like other card games, and it's not. And the day before the tournament, I had play tested with the deck for 3 months, and was sharp with it. And then one of my friends had, suggested another deck that it would just be better in the 2.0 format, and I ended up doing terribly wrong and bad. Day 2, I went to the 8 a.m. and I actually played the deck that I really started with, understood the 2.0 format, and respected it, and actually finished in top 10 of that. So if I had any suggestions for you guys, pick with one color, good or bad, work through it and make the changes so that you can really understand what you're doing, because you need multiple hours color and a combination to understand situations, because you're going to get situations that you're not familiar with. Like I played a green steel player that I could tell either was very adamant about other colors and it was playing green steel, and playing to that disadvantage to me as an RP player and knowing what they're going to do, and if they do something different, then I kind of put them in a trap.
You also need to learn your mulligans too, like what you should look for per each matchup. Like I feel like that's a really good suggestion.
Agreed. I just think that you need to put a lot of time into one one set colors and stick with that, because if you don't, you're going to lose more games than win them because you're not familiar with certain situations.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you. Now, do you want any shout outs to give?
Yeah, I just want to shout out. I hadn't really been announced yet, but I have a team. We are a Legion of Doom. I think it will be announced here in a couple of weeks of some certain people and players that you guys might be very familiar with. So I'm looking forward to that happening, and
That's
looking forward to
awesome.
Continentals, and I'm going to Paris to play in Paris as well.
Well, congratulations and good luck. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Okay, thanks guys for listening. Bye.